All right, day number 2 with the CyberX e-bike. You guys can see it's charging, so it kind of shifts through all the various colors, RGB, red, green, blue. It's actually pretty cool, but it is on a full charge, you guys can see there. And so we're gonna get this thing out today for a full range test. And this, by the way, is how you charge it. This is exactly how the CB750, the red one over there, charges. So today I'm gonna be testing out the full range of this thing and the top speed, basically just the real life specs you guys can expect out of this bike. And remember, this is a $5,500 bike, so this is not a cheap bike, but it is cheaper than the Delfast Top 3.0. And I already tested that one out and it fell very short of the claimed specs. So we'll see how the CyberX e-bike does. They claim it does 50 miles per hour and 100 miles of range, and Kurt said the battery pack in this one is actually bigger than the Delfast Top 3.0. Delfast, I think I got 49 miles or something, 42 miles, something like that. Watch the video if you care that much, on one charge. And that's basically full throttle. I was riding it around like any normal human would if they bought a $6,600 e-bike. And there were a lot of haters. They were like, well, obviously it's not gonna get 200 miles of range if you're just on the throttle the whole time. I'm like, well, if you're buying a bike that expensive that goes that fast and has that big of a battery pack, like, you're not gonna be babying the thing. You're not gonna test it at 10 miles per hour for 200 miles. Like, no one's gonna be riding it like that. So we're basically just gonna go full throttle or very close to it. I'm just gonna shoot down the city roads and basically just go as far as it'll take me and show you guys how many miles I get and the top speed and everything. We're definitely gonna get the speedometer app out and see if the speedometer on here is accurate. So let's freaking get to it. All right, riding the CyberX e-bike. We're on pedal assist 5. We're basically just gonna max it out, see how far it will take me, you know, riding it like a motorcycle. And as you guys noticed last video, the chain is very loud, which slightly concerns me, but not really. I guess I'm just gonna assume it's not slapping on anything. I'm gonna assume that it's gonna be safe. But that would be quite the surprise if the chain snapped on me. Anyway, let's just get this thing out to the road and see how far it's gonna take us. First impression though is it's a smooth ride. It feels a lot like a motorcycle. It says we're at 45 miles per hour. I can't tell if that's accurate or not. It felt like it could have been 45 miles per hour. All right, first things first, I think we just should take this little strip right here and just get a full top speed real quick. Just see if it will actually hit 50 or not. All right, looks like we're tracking. Let's just hammer it and see what we get. Oh man, this is gonna be something. All right, let's do it. 46, 48, 50, 53. What the freak? Yeah, all right, if this thing is accurate, then then I will be. If it said we went 53. Let's take an actual look. And the GPS, I didn't sustain the top speed, I guess, long enough for maybe the GPS to have read it correctly. 53.7. So that thing is actually accurate. That was not nearly long of a stretch. Yeah, I could feel it was still climbing. 53.7, 40, 46, 7, 8. This thing hauls, dude. I'm gonna tuck a little bit. 54, 56, 57. It looks like we maxed out at 57. Holy crap. Wow. I'm gonna go ahead and just pull off at the next neighborhood here. It said 57.8 on the speedometer, so let's see if that was accurate. It said we hit 55.8 on that one. I don't know who to believe, dude. I'm just gonna say it did 57. It's crazy. Even if it did 55.8, that's still above what they're advertising on their website, which is insane. Nobody does that. I can't remember all the bikes I've done, but I don't know the last time a bike performed better than what they advertise. That's crazy. Consider me impressed. let's get this full range done and see what it does, dude. It's insanely hot out here, but I feel like I'm gonna be out here for a couple hours. So anyway, let's just get to it. I'm not gonna take you guys along too much of it. I'll just show you some random shots here and there, and then just tell you when you get home. I'll be respectful, Since there's no freaking bike lane on these roads, I'm gonna go ahead and just take it nice and easy on the sidewalk because I'm a bicycle. 16.5 miles on it and 76-ish volts. Still got a little ways to go. Faster I drive, the faster it dies. That's what I'm going for right now. This thing is so fast for a e-bike. And the bike lane stopped. That's crazy. This thing just keeps up with traffic, no problem. Alright, so I just finished killing this thing. Luckily, we're not too far from home, but I just experienced the first and last cutout. It's not turning back on. After cutting out, there is zero response from anything I do. How about that? I didn't even realize I didn't take the plastic off this thing. Okay, well, you guys remember from last video how awkward it is to pedal this thing, so let's pedal this thing home. I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing charged up. The key does nothing. There's no power at all. So once this bike dies, it's dead. So just make sure you're pretty close to home when it happens. Now obviously it popped up a low battery warning on the screen. So let's get this thing charged up and we'll run you through everything. All right, next day here. First things first, I totally forgot to take this plastic off when I got it. So you guys have been seeing these lights and all the cool stuff with plastic still all over the bike. That's glass, boy. All right, well that sure does look a whole lot better now. The real question is, how many miles did we get on one full charge? We got 43 miles on one full charge. Now that being said, I know a popular comment in the comments below is going to be 43 miles just is not gonna cut it for a $5,500 e-bike. But you also have to keep in mind that I was riding this thing at 58 miles per hour as much as I possibly could. I did scroll through this and it said our max speed reached was 58.7 miles per hour. And so you guys have to realize that 43 miles does not sound like that much, but if you're freaking hauling down the road at 55 miles per hour the entire time doing that, that is actually really impressive. Obviously, if I was going actual e-bike speed 28 miles per hour or under, I probably at least would have doubled that. So we probably would have got 85 to 90 miles or so doing half the speed or even more, who knows. Maxing out electric vehicles like that really decreases the range. And so if I was riding it conservatively at all, it probably at least would have doubled, probably would have hit the 100-mile range mark that they advertise on the website. All in all, this bike honestly feels really nice to ride. It is a little bit noisy. You can hear the chain when you're riding, which isn't a bad thing because people can hear you coming and it's not too loud to where it's obnoxious to ride. But overall, it feels really good. I mean, it's comfortable. The steering responds well. The suspension is very smooth. Really just a comfortable ride to haul across town on. So yeah, anyway, this is the CyberX. I think this is the last video I'll do on it. My overall impression is really good on this thing. It's actually a kind of freaking sweet e-bike. Let me turn off the lights really quick and show you guys how cool it looks too. I feel like I'm just gonna have this as a decorative piece in the garage, you know, maybe in the corner over there or something, just kind of glowing at all times. Let me show you. I'll kind of just let it cycle through for you guys really quick, but you guys can see how cool of like an ambiance it creates. Just it's hard to see on camera obviously, but in real life it's actually really kind of soothing to watch. I don't know, man, at first it looks really weird right when you see this e-bike for the first time, but it's kind of growing on me. I was just telling my friend the other day, it's like something you would see in some rich person's house just chilling, you know, like as an art statement. I also forgot to mention the turn signals are actually kind of cool, and it also does it on the front. I actually didn't realize these are switchback turn signals, so that's kind of cool. They're daytime running lights when they're not on turn signal function, but they are turn signals when you turn the turn signal on. Also looks like there is a check that out, there is a USB in there. How about that? And there's a phone mount right here. And I'll show you guys really quick, the horn is a actual standard like motorcycle horn, so it's loud, so I'm just gonna beep it. So freaking loud. So people will hear you coming if you hit that on the road. Legit motorcycle spec stuff, $5,500. And one thing I'm actually realizing more and more is through video, through pictures, this thing looks like it's tiny, but in person this thing is freaking huge. Like you guys can see, that's my hand right there, and my hand's not like tiny, it's not big, but it's not tiny. And you guys can see that freaking just the motor case is that size. And so it's actually a pretty dang big bike. It's full size. I'm 6'3" and I was tiptoeing it sometimes. But on camera, it looks so tiny just by how it's shaped and everything. Super funny. So when you guys are watching this, you're probably thinking it's some small bike that sells for $5,500, but it's a freaking full-size motorcycle. All right, so there you guys have it. That is the CyberX e-bike. This is probably the last video you guys will see on it probably, but of course you'll see it in the background of a lot of other videos as well. I personally plan on keeping it. For the price I got it for, there's really no reason not to. Obviously, I could flip it and make some cash monies on the back end with it, but I feel like it's one of those that's special enough to actually kind of have, you know, just in the garage, hanging out, glowing. The real question is it worth $5,500? In my personal opinion, I think it is. You guys can see how big it is. I mean, I'm 6'3" and this thing is freaking huge. So you're getting a lot of bike for the price. $5,500, it might sound like a lot, but if you guys know, I mean, electric motorcycles that are doing similar specs to this, maybe a little bit better, are going significantly more than the price that this bike is. Plus, it has pedals. I was gonna say, so legally you don't need insurance or anything, but I will also say when I was riding it around, I felt like I was wrong for riding it on sidewalks because it feels like a legit motorcycle. So I was like keeping my eye out for police, you know, because I feel like this is one of those bikes that they might actually pull you over for. You're riding on a sidewalk or bike trail or something. And so every time I saw police, I always got a little bit self-conscious just because I knew that if they pulled me over and he was like, why are you riding on a sidewalk? and I was like, because it's a bicycle, he'd be like, I'm pretty sure that's a motorcycle, and I'd have to be like, yeah, it pretty much is. I didn't get hassled by the police. I saw a few of them driving around. They didn't seem to care. You're basically getting a motorcycle. It topped out almost at 60 miles per hour with me, 6'3", 205 pounds. If you're shorter and lighter than I am, you're gonna hit 60 miles per hour. I can guarantee you that. Plus you'll get more range and everything. And it's full electric. You're not paying for gas. You're not changing the oil. You're not insuring, registering, you know, needing a motorcycle license, that kind of thing, for $5,500. Obviously that's a lot of money, and I personally probably would just buy a used car for that price, but but if you're really in the market for one of these, I know people are like set on getting this kind of bike for that money. I think this is probably the best one out there, to be honest, if it's in production. I don't even know if it's being sold, you know. Anyway, I think it's worth the price if you're really set on getting a motorcycle slash e-bike like this one. Comparing it to the Delfast Top 3.0 that I reviewed recently, this thing honestly is just so much cooler. I enjoy riding it a lot more than the Delfast. It's more comfortable, first of all. It goes faster, gets more range going faster, and it's $1,100 less than the Delfast as well. So in my opinion, the Delfast is probably just overpriced. I think the Delfast should probably go $5,000 or less, in the $4,000 range maybe. Whereas this, I think, is justified in the $5,000-ish price range. As far as electric motorcycles go, that's pretty fair price. Anyway, that's it.